In this video, we're going to take a look at the plumbing floor plan, riser diagram, and schedule. You will notice that for the plumbing sheet, we have a floor plan as well as a riser diagram here. So plumbing is pretty hard to describe in just a floor plan type scenario. Even though we do have lines for underfloor plumbing and above ceiling or above overhead plumbing, it's still kind of hard to follow and tell exactly what's going on. So they use that in conjunction with the riser diagram here, and you can take one piece and you can follow it on both the riser diagram and the floor plan, and you will see they will match each other just in different perspectives. So if we look at, let's take a look at this long dash line right here. That is the supply water. And let's go and take a look here at the floor plan. So you have your riser, or this is the pipe running up through the building, and it comes off and it hits a couple of valves, where you could turn off water at these specific locations. It's going to tee off and come up to a stub out, and then it'll continue on to a water heater right here. Well, if we look over here, so we have a vertical riser that was the circle, and then it comes off and then it splits off, and you have your valves. Then you have your cap right here, and it goes to the water heater. And notice that you have you have your level 8. So would be the floor of level 8 above. This is your ceiling, and this is your level 7. So anything above the ceiling but below level 8, this will be in the like the interstitial space that we talked about in mechanical. And then your level 7 right here, anything under this is going to be your underfloor, would be above the level 6 ceiling. Okay, and every line we have on here directly follows and kind of gives a vertical dimension to every line in here. All right, and then we have lastly our fixture schedule. So SKA is a sink, so it's a LK luster tone model, LRAD 3321. And if you go and find your SKA, now you have a link directly back to a schedule that tells you exactly what model and kind of what sink this is. All right, so we're going to look at and we're going to start drawing this. I do have all of these symbols over on the right-hand side as blocks. Download the latest file if these are not blocks. Everything should be on the correct layer. So notice these are on 0, 0. PSYS for plumbing system. Clean out. All right, so we have the water heater. So this is what we talked about in on the plumbing slide. So this is a small little above ceiling water heater. You can see it over. Here's the riser diagram symbol that we'll draw later. That it's above a ceiling. So this would be one of your small kind of targeted water heaters that we talked about. You have a backflow preventer. This prevents backflow in pipes and keeps from contaminating supply water. You have a hub drain right here, P-trap, end cap. So this would be at the end of either a stub out or some pipe that isn't connected to anything. This is a valve symbol that is essentially where you can just open and close a certain section of a pipe. This is the T symbol. This is a 90-degree elbow symbol. We have pipe up, pipe down, just has the section missing out of it. T, so you'd have a pipe running across here, and that indicates that it turns down right here, but continues on as well. You'd have a stub out, so this would be like a pipe down and a turn. So that's the symbol for stub out. This is a symbol for a clean out. Clean outs are essentially where they can take a piece off a pipe, and if they need to run some sort of like router type thing in there or auger and clean out a pipe. This is a floor drain symbol. This would be in your restrooms, your janitor's closets, whatnot, where you could have some sort of overflow. I do have a couple different line types down here. These are on the correct layer. So plumbing hot water, plumbing cold water. Here's your vent pipe. Here's your sanitary below. Do note that this one right here is a P line, so you'll need to draw in P lines right here, or convert lines that you've drawn to P lines to be able to get this thickness. You get that through your global width right here. And lastly, your sanitary, this is just like your above ceiling sanitary line. All right, so I'm going to draw a little bit of this, kind of show you a few steps. All right, so we're going to start with our pipe up. I like to start just where the pipes actually come in here. So I'm going to start in what's called a plumbing chase. So you would have these pipes as well as any sort of other drain pipes. Say you have restrooms up here. These would usually be piped into this plumbing chase as well. All right, so I'm going to use a polyline here. I'm just going to come out. All right, then we have a pipe down. So I'm going to be using a lot of the copy with base point here, since I have a base point on these blocks, so that you can rotate them easily with your rotation over here in your properties. So I'm just do a Control Shift C. I'm going to grab the center point here. Now when I come over here and drop it on this pipe, I can just drop it on the end point here and then rotate this 180. All right, I'm also going to match properties with the cold water. So click that. MA is match properties. Grab that. All right, now let's do our stub out over here. Match properties again. All right, and I'm going to use both of these T's over here. So I'm just going to make a copy and paste them over here just to move to the correct place. All right, so I have these T's set up where the intersection, where you can just grab the base point here and you can just plop it. You can just place it here at the intersection and it should, should hit the lines in the correct place. Same thing with this pipe here. So I'm going to drop it there and just rotate it into place. Okay, now let's draw a end cap on this stub out. Here. Copy and paste here. Put my elbows on. Drop the water heater over here. This one I'm going to use my copy with base point, but in the center of this line right here. I'm sorry, the center of this pipe here. So notice that the water heater has a T down as well as a pipe down. So the T down will go on this cold water line, and that indicates that the cold water comes and then it turns down here and feeds into the water heater, but it also continues on to feed into the sinks. And that will, and then this symbol right here is the pipe up. So that is your hot water. That's where your hot water starts. So looking at this is where this red line. So it's taking your cold water, heating it up, and this is the originator, or this is where your hot water originates. And we'll go into your bathroom wall right here, or your break room wall right here. All right, so you'll keep going through using your symbols, basically using all your symbols over here and matching your lines. Do know that, like I said, you want to use P lines for at least the sanitary below. I like using it for most things just because it connects it all. If you need to move something, the other lines follow it. So now I'm going to do the sanitary line, and I'll show you how to get the 45 degree, or I'll show you how to get a 45 degree here. Draw my sanitary line out, P line, and you notice that it's not snapping to a 45 degree angle. You could hit the greater than symbol, so shift comma, and then type 45, and that will lock this into a 45 degree. Or you can come over here and turn on polar tracking. So default turn on is F10. So I'm going to turn on polar tracking, and you can set your increment angle to 45. So that means every 45 degrees it will try to snap. All right, so let's do another polyline. So here. So notice that as soon as I get to 225, or minus to an increment of 45, it wants to snap. All right, so I'm going to run 45 and straight down, another 45, and start. Through and making your lines. Also, you can, or make sure you match properties. We need to add a clean out on here. Control Shift C, copy the base point. Plop this down. Didn't leave enough room for my vent line here, so make sure you do. But if not, no biggie. I'm just going to select that. Deselect. I don't want to move and use a stretch tool that we talked about before, and pull this up. All right, so now you have room for your vent line in here. All right, so you'll go through and you'll basically use the blocks and everything, and your polar snapping and polar tracking. Make sure all of these are at 45 degrees. Make sure everything's on the right layer. So now we'll do a portion of the riser diagram here. So I did give you the your baselines here. So you just have to draw your horizontal and vertical plumbing lines. You do have these symbols right here. These are just continuation symbols. This means that these pipes, vent, and sanitary just keep going up here. Just keep going down here. Don't have a block for that. Just draw those with either a spline right here or a couple curves, a couple arcs. All right, let's do some match properties. MA, this one, MA for this one, and then sanitary. Here. All right, and notice that it didn't make this one a wide line. It's because it wasn't a polyline. If you do draw one of these and you don't want to redraw it, you can just select it and type P edit. And then notice down here, it says, do you want to turn P edit? Do you want to turn it into one? So it's saying this line isn't a polyline. Do you want to turn it into one? So just hit enter for yes. And then you can go and change your global width here to 2. All right, so I'm gonna do a couple arcs here. Then we're just going to mirror it that way and this way. That may be a little big. I'm just going to scale it down and then copy with base point. All right, so let's see, we need to be underneath the level 8 but above the ceiling, so we're going to draw this main supply that we drew first. I'll draw this over. You do want to break and trim these lines out to where it crosses, just to indicate that these aren't actually connected. So I like to do that. I like to put a circle and then just use the trim tool. So you can highlight that, hit TR for trim, and then it uses that as your cutout. And then anytime you do a circle after that, if you just hit enter, it'll make it the same size as you did before, so you can get a uniform break on everything. TR for trim. All right, so now that indicates that that water line is not part of those systems. All right, so we had a couple valves. And here and here, and that matches those there. All right, so that's the same. Let's do an end cap as well to match this right here. Now looking at it's continuing, then it hits the water heater. So the water heater we will just draw. So we'll use rectangle. All right, continuing with the polyline. There's our cold water. And then we have a valve on the vertical. All right, so you will continue on drawing your one line diagram. In the annotate tab, you have a multi-liter called summer. So this will be what you use to tag your pipe sizes. So just click on multi-liter, then you can click on the pipe, and that will start your M liter. Click down, and then we'll do 1-1/2 inch. And there's our sizing, our size for your pipes. Oh, and I just noticed I added this above level 8. It actually needs to be above ceiling but below level 8. But that's fine. I will just go through, select everything with my right to left selection tool, deselect what I don't want to move, and then use the stretch command. So remember we talked about that in the mechanical. So I'm going to use a stretch command. Now we can pull this down, and it just moves those lines. All right, so now you'll go through and you'll keep going with your riser diagram, follow the handout as well as the floor plan. Next, we will look at the schedules. So the schedules, you can use the table like we did in the like we did with the mechanical. So I believe this one is 3 columns by 11 rows. You don't need the header as a second row, so you can go right here where it says second row style. We're just going to say data because we don't have headers. We're just going to have the fixture schedule and the data below it. So I can say OK. I can place it here, and just like the mechanical schedules, we need to scale this. So SC for scale. I'm going to scale it up 96 times, and that will give us the right sizes for this schedule. So I'll pull it out. A couple things. You want to make all of your data in here to be 8 inches height, 8 inches text height. All right, and I also want to make all of this, and even the top one, or all of these columns, all of these cells to be top left. Top left. This is you can just set this one to 1'4". Notice that you still have all your lines here. To get rid of these, I'm going to select everything in the schedule. I'm going to right click and you can say borders right here. This is just like in Excel where you can put an exterior border, interior borders, everything with a border. If you click no borders right here and say OK, notice they turn into a light gray. So that means that they're there, so you can click on them and edit the stuff, but they won't print. All right, so we're gonna do SKA. SK-A. These are underlined. This one we can bring way over. Sync. This one we make pretty long. Make sure this is 8 inches. Let's do bottom left on this. And then we can use the borders and create a bottom line right here. Now, when we go in here and we go to print, when we're all done with everything, you won't see the borders for everything except for what you want. Let me pull this way in too. All right, so you go through and add in all of your fixture schedules that correspond with all of your plumbing fixtures. And once you get the floor plan, riser, and schedule done, you are finished with the plumbing.